Hello, welcome. This is To Your Greatness with Dawn Mathis. And I'm Dawn Mathis with In Situ LifeWorks. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about 3 keys to unlocking your potential. So here we are in January, and most of us on December 31st wrote out some resolutions. And now here we are in February, the wasteland of our best set intentions. What happened? Happens almost every year. I don't know about you, but it does happen to me. So let's look at why that might happen to us. Maybe you don't have a crystal clear vision or no real vision. Maybe it's lack of support, lack of a mentor. In addition to any of those, it can also be that you've surrendered. Things are just too hard. Life comes and you think, what's the use? Well, today we're going to talk about those 3 keys to unlocking your potential. So don't surrender, don't give up, because you're not alone. So the challenge is this, and I'm sure it fits many of you. Your alarm clock goes off, and all of your stressors and your worries come crashing back around you. All the things you have to do that day, with work, with the family, with traffic, with finances. And you're not even sure where to start or what to do. So here's the good news. The good news is that those are actually our longings and our discontents. And those are actually a sign of growth. These little growth signals are actually little inner messages and reminders that compel us to move in some direction towards something we want or away from something that we don't. So in other words, our goals and dreams, if we think about it, are actually born out of the challenges that we face. The trick is to notice the signals and to be willing to step out of your comfort zone into a new potential future, one that includes dreams instead of worries. So what if you had some simple tools that you could use to take that brave step out of your comfort zone and to actually discover and realize your dreams? Would you love that? I hope so, because that's what we're talking about today. The 3 keys to unlocking your potential. So once you have an awareness of this potential, you'll be able to notice that you're actually feeling different. Maybe you're acting differently. We call that being on the green growing edge of your own becoming. You're actually becoming a higher version of yourself. So if you engage in this process with an open mind and an open heart, you will be transformed. So we hope you will open your heart and your mind. And here's what happens. When you start to think about things you would love, you go from possibility to probability to predictability. So if you can grab a notebook and a pen, do so if you're not driving, because you'll want to take some notes. And here's the thing. Our brains actually fire differently. Different parts of our brains fire differently when we think thoughts, when we write them down, and when we speak them aloud. And you've probably heard the expression, what gets fired gets wired. It actually becomes the wiring in your brain when you fire these areas over and over again. There's power in repetition. So, the first key is to design your dream. What does that mean? Well, here's a simple question you can ask yourself. Start with this. What would I love? What would I love? What would I love to happen in my life? So let's begin with a kind of a fun exercise. Think of yourself getting into a shiny new time machine. For those of you old enough to know this movie, Back to the Future, I think it was a DeLorean. But whatever it is for you, put yourself in that time machine. And close your eyes if you're not driving. And then imagine you're 3 years into the future, 3 years exactly to the day that you got in. And everything you said you would love, everything that you wrote down that you would love is there right before your eyes. It's your new reality. You're there. Wow. How would you feel? Pretty good. So, you're getting out of the time machine. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Who's there with you? So grab that notebook after you visualize this a little bit. And I want you to draw a vertical line down the center of the page and then a horizontal line intersecting it. And we're going to design a life you would love 3 years from now in four major quadrants of our lives. The first one is health and well-being. Health and well-being. The second one is love and relationships. The third is vocation. And the fourth is time and money freedom. So ask yourself that question again in each one of those quadrants. And I would just like you to take just a couple of minutes. And if you need more space, just do more later on, but just a couple of minutes. Come up with some of your desires that you have in these areas of your life. 2 minutes in each of those quadrants. It's a very powerful exercise. And remember, if you can't think of anything right away, just go back to what your longings and discontents are and start there and reverse engineer it a bit. It'll come to you. It'll come to you. So, the other thing I want you to remember, very important, and I would write this down. Clarity is power. Because here's the thing. The universe, life, the divine, does not know what you want unless and until you describe it in detail. If you kind of sort of want something that kind of sort of looks like this, I have no idea what you're going to get from that. Maybe nothing. Kind of sort of doesn't work. You have to be clear. Just like if you were building a house, the blueprints are concise, detailed, clear, and everything has its place on that page. Your dreams are like that too. They need a blueprint that is detailed. So when you write down your 3-year vision, I want you to do this. I want you to suspend the how and also suspend the judgment. Don't say, oh my gosh, what are the neighbors going to think? There's no way I can do this. How am I ever going to do this? It's not your job or your business to know the how. It is your job and your business to know the what. What would I love? That's all you're doing right now. The how comes later. So Martin Luther King's mentor Howard Thurman, said this to him one day many years ago. Don't ask what the world needs you to do. Do what makes you come alive. Dream what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is more people that have come alive. I love that. So here's the second key. Many of you have heard of Bob Proctor. He's a world-renowned author, speaker, transformational coach. And he says this, I'm paraphrasing. There is one mental, magical move that you can take that will propel you to success in every area of your life if you possess it or use it. And that one mental, magical move is decision. So that's why the second key to unlocking your potential is to decide for your dream. So commit to it. Even with the circumstances as they are, once you decide what you would love, and once you decide you're taking steps, things change. I'm sure you've had that experience before. It's the same with your dream. Things will align and things will change when you take the steps that you can take. So Henry David Thoreau said this: if people advance confidently in the direction of their dreams, endeavoring to live the life they've imagined, they will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. So very important how we think and how we imagine and how we create that picture of our dreams. Decide and commit. That's the second key. The third key is one that keeps most people from ever realizing their dream, and it's called fear. And that's why the third key is befriending your fear. Befriending your fear. So, if you think back on the challenges you're facing right now, does it sometimes feel easier to just accept it and go with it versus try to overcome them? Because we get so afraid that we're going to fail or fall on our faces. And it's amazing that even our fear and our pain, as uncomfortable as it is, can become part of our comfort zone. And nothing grows in the comfort zone. Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith has a quote, and he says, "We're pushed by pain until we're pulled by fear." Sometimes we need a 2x4 of pain before we'll take a step or say, okay, maybe a dream would be less painful. So great dreamers use the power of their vision to see the end result, to see the end in their minds. And they suspend the how as they take the steps they can take toward the dreams they would love to realize. The reason you hesitate could be because you're afraid to fall or fail. But think about this. Think about the process when you were a toddler, if you remember that. Some of us do, some of us don't. When you were a toddler and you were crawling around on the floor and all the grown-ups and the bigger kids were walking around on two legs, and you were crawling on the floor and God knows what was down there on the carpet. And then you decided you wanted to do that too. And you got a crystal clear dream. Maybe it was a cookie or a toy, or just trying to be like a big brother or a big sister and walk on two legs. But you had a dream. And you stood up and then fell down. Over and over and over again. How many times? Man, I don't know how many times I fell. I don't think any of us even counted. But do you ever remember saying, well, I guess that's it. I guess I just wasn't meant to be a walker. That's okay. I'll just crawl around. It'll be fine. It's all good. No. We tried over and over and over again and kept our eye on the prize, our eye on that crystal clear vision of a big brother or a big sister, a toy, a cookie. And finally, one day, we mastered walking. There's power in repetition. There's also power in being undaunted and staying to the task. So fear is not a reason to stop, but it's a constant reminder that we're growing. It's just like obstacles that cause our fear. Obstacles aren't stop signs, they're qualifiers. They teach us about ourselves, they reveal us to ourselves, and we can get stronger. So this is great news. So I invite you to embrace fear despite the circumstances. And when you know what you would love, and you have a burning desire for that, and you consider taking your first brave step in the direction of your dream, more than likely you're going to do it afraid. And you know what? That's okay. So let me tell you about some people who overcame their fear of failure and embraced their fear and became great. Did you know that Oprah Winfrey was fired by TV executives? They said she wasn't fit for TV. Or that Steven Spielberg was rejected from USC Film School 3 times. 3 times. Walt Disney was fired from the newspaper he worked at. They said he didn't have an imagination and he had no original thoughts. Whew. And J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, 12 different publishing houses rejected her book before it was finally accepted by another publisher. I'd sure hate to be one of those 12. So let's do this. Let's get back into our time machine and come back to the present moment. You're back in your home and you're waking up to those same worries or those same longings and discontents that you've had for weeks, months, years, maybe a lifetime. But now you know it doesn't have to be that way because you have tools. You have 3 keys for unlocking your potential. And so for now, I just want to let you know I am thrilled that you are on this podcast. I'm hoping you'll come back next week, and thank you for listening.